Hello, it's Colrain or Colrain Tarot here on YouTube. My pronouns are they, them, and I am an energy healer and tarot artist. And today, what I'm creating for you, or the collective of people who find this video, is a tarot reading where we are going to dive into your karma and specifically how your karma is influencing your experience as an energetic being, as a friend, like in relationships, but also as a person in career and like in the material world. So like the abundance that you're attracting to yourself and all these different things. So we're going to look at many different dimensions of how karma is affecting you, what energy you're sending out, and how it's being returned back to you. So karma is something that I don't want to get too much into because I know you've come here for a reading if you've clicked on this video, so we're not going to go too in depth about it, but I will link in the description some resources on what karma is if you'd like to check that out after this video, and just get a bit more of a sense of like the traditions, where it comes from, because it does come from Hindu and Buddhist practices, and it is not something that I feel like we have really grasped fully in the West, or in, you know, that colonized term of the West, but in an American sense, or in many English-speaking countries where I am assuming most of my audience is from. So today I have 4 piles here for you to choose from, and I apologize for any background noise, but I'm going to introduce them a little bit and then we can get into the piles. So right here is pile 1. We have the ocean jasper on this pile, and yeah. And then pile 2, we have this shell, I guess. Pile 3, we have some ammonite. And pile 4, there's some fire opal. If you need some time to meditate on this and get really synced into the reading, then I will give you the opportunity to pause here and spend some time with the piles. Otherwise, if you know exactly where you need to go, then there will be timestamps in the description as usual. So I will see you in your pile. Bye, friend. Hello, pile 1. If you selected pile 1 or this ocean jasper, then this is going to be your karma reading. So in order to cleanse the space, I want to start just with a sound bell to really open up the space and send out any energy that does not belong to my pile 1s. So I'm going to start with this card from the Okana Oracle. This is going to describe the shadow side of yourself, or the parts of yourself that have been coming forward and possibly influencing your karma right now in a way that you can improve. So I do really focus on spiritual practice and especially karma from a perspective of improvement and self-development and these kind of things. So we got Ase. The world was created by one. Honestly, I am feeling like your energy is very balanced, grounded, light. It's in a sense open to the perspective of allowing other people to have their own viewpoint. So you're not going to be one who's imposing your viewpoint on others. Your energy is your energy, their energy is their energy, and you are very respectful of that. So I am feeling like your karma is pretty great right now. I feel like you may have worked a lot on it, or you have karma that's followed you from a past life and is very favorable. So I want to get I'm not seeing that there's very much shadow that's going on right now. I do want to check actually the guidebook for this card and just see what the shadow aspect is. Shadow element, not using one's true power and relying on others to make decisions for you. Okay, so this isn't necessarily about something that you're doing to impose on other people. I feel like it's more sometimes you need to step into your own power. So yeah, it's with this infinity, it's going on a loop. So I feel like for some of you, this may be not stepping up enough in your home life. That's a message that's very clearly coming through, like letting other people do like household chores, cooking, cleaning, these kind of things. For some of you, this may have to do with gender roles as well. You may be slipping into these paradigms of like gender roles where you're doing things in a way that has been handed to you rather than one that is functional for how everyone in your like environment, if you have roommates or family members that you're living with or whoever, this could even be people in your community that you share resources with. You're just not maybe thinking that of everyone else's use, but I do feel like that is really the only thing that is too difficult for you at this time. For some of you, this is a lot about resources. So for some of you, this is also about like emotional resources and that kind of thing. So let's look at your tarot cards. I have the Cosmos Tarot and Oracle. They're mixed. And then we also have the Gothmancy Tarot. And I'm just going to read them how they've come out here today. So both of these are in the reverse. We have the Water Queen, Gruce, longevity, commitment, eternity, Comet, 15, a sign of fate, harbinger of change, Two of Swords, upright, and then we have the Queen of Swords. So we have two queens on either end. They're both in the reverse. Queens represent the sides of ourselves that bring in, integrate, internalize. This is the process that happens, I do feel like, especially with the Queen of Swords here, in the mind and in the emotions. In terms of your karma, I feel like this is possibly a sign of victimizing yourself or not seeing that you have the ability to change a situation based on your own actions and the things that you say, excuse me. So, I feel like for a lot of you, you're waiting for things with this card here. You're waiting for things to just change, or you're waiting for someone else to give you the go. And that's not necessarily the case. This is about taking accountability and also taking responsibility to make things happen in your life. For a lot of you, you have all of the resources that are available to you. Like Source is always, your spirit team, whoever, is always calling out to you and giving you some kind of resource or some kind of insight or inspiration. And I feel like there's always an excuse sometimes. Like, oh, so-and-so isn't following through on this. I need this to come in before I can do whatever. Like, there's excuses going on. The Two of Swords, I also feel like, is representing that you may have willfully withheld information from other people in the past, or it's like intentionally hoarding something, hoarding resources in some way. And I feel like this is, it's not quite selfish, but it is a little selfish or self-focused. I'm going to shut this. And so now you are having to kind of go in the dark and not have as much insight into what's happening because of this like intentional withholding of information in the past. With this thing hiding underneath the porch, I feel like you're at the point right now where you're watching other people have to live out your dreams or live out things that you really want to do, because Spirit's trying to tell you, don't try and manipulate or control outcomes of situations. You're gonna have to see other people as your comrades. I don't know why that word's coming through. It's like the camaraderie that needs to be looked at for you. So I feel like what is being asked of you right now is to be able to turn these over and be both independent but not to a fault, and compassionate but not to the point of taking in being able to read other people's emotions, and then internalize them for like selfish purposes. So I guess right now what's happening is for you to kind of move past these karmic obstacles, is to see yourself as more reflected in other people. Instead of seeing yourself as separate from other people, see the ways that other people may mirror past versions of yourself, or how you may fall into being able to behave in the same ways that you're seeing other people behave, so that you can have more compassion for them. This is not about letting other people walk all over you, but it's about being like, how would I want somebody to approach me if I was in this other person's position? And I feel like that's how you're going to be able to work through some of this karma, because right now I feel like you're in survival mode in some way. And it's just not working. It's like Spirit's like, okay, let's try something new, because what you're putting out right now is not lining up with what you know you're going to be contributing in the long run, if that makes any sense. Otherwise, this is all that I'm seeing for you, Pile 1. I hope that this resonated. I hope that this brought you some insight into the everyday actions that you're taking and how that's influencing what's happening for you on a spiritual level. Otherwise, I will see you in another video, and I am sending so many blessings, so much abundance, and so much love your way. Bye, friend. Hello, Pile 2. If you selected Pile 2 or this little shell, then this is going to be your karma reading. So just in order to cleanse any residual energy from the last pile, I want to start with a sound bell. To cleanse the space, I'm going to do it one more time. Okay. Beautiful. I'm going to take a sip of my kombucha, and we're going to start. All right, so Pile 2, I'm feeling like your karma, it's a little bit muddy. The energy that you've been putting out, you've been consciously trying to liberate it or alter it. I do feel like you're in a much better place than you were, let's say, like 6 months ago. You've done a lot of work. I do feel like right now is a little bit more of a rest period. So let's look at this card. This is from the Okana Oracle, so this is going to describe a shadow attribute that is contributing to your current karmic situation. We have Egan. The dead stand in waiting. Interesting. This card, I do feel like is almost ancestral karma, or like a generational karma that you're working through right now. So this is karma that's not outside of yourself, but it is something that is deep within you in your material body. So this comes from ancestral things, or like it's passed down. It's paradigms and actions that have been given to you rather than something that you are consciously doing. This, I feel like, manifests in relationships. And there is a recent passed on loved one or family member that is currently still alive but older, so I'm seeing more like grandparents, aunts or uncles, great aunts or uncles as well, that are kind of trying to help you, I feel like, in a, either it may be that they're actually reaching out to you and like having conversations with you, or that they are going through similar things to you and you guys are working through something so that your family members aren't perpetuating these like traumas that have been passed down. So I am really seeing that this is something that you need to like put it to rest. So the dead standing and waiting, I do feel like a lot of you, this is passed on loved ones who are helping you in your current relationships, just not to repeat these things. I feel like for a lot of you, this has to do with romantic relationships or relationships that are one-on-one. So like if you had grandparents or great aunts or uncles or whoever who didn't get to feel fully satisfied in relationships, they're really helping you to step into relationships that are satisfying and healthy, and they're going to work for the greater good of everyone. So these ones are the Cosmos Tarot. I'm going to flip them over first. And I am reading reversals today. So we have the Moon in reverse and the Three of Swords, or Three of Air. Hercules, great effort, trial, and persistence. So with Hercules here, Hercules goes to battle. Hercules does it on his own, but also with the help of a mentor. So again, going back to this mentorship, there is somebody in your life or some other people that are involved that are assisting this process and this rebirth. Hercules goes from scrawny, weak to a great warrior, and that's why there's this great effort, trial, and persistence. This is something that you are going to be doing over and over. It's an action, a choice, a thought pattern, and you're catching yourself. I feel like for some of you this also has to do with addiction, and that's also where this like generational thing or like something that's actually coming through. For some of you, you're going to want to look into your ancestry, or just like this could even be a cultural thing. So it's something that like specifically it's almost like a trope or a stereotype about the blood that runs through your body. I don't know why that blood is coming up. I think it's also with the moon here. Secrets, mystery, cycles. Yeah, with addiction, it could be cycles. It's that something is repeated in your family and you're being called to break that chain. So I think right now what's happening for you is this connection in with your subconscious, and so you're really using your subconscious mind to liberate yourself from having to experience so much heartache, so much hardship, especially in relationships. A lot of you, I do feel like, are very much in an isolation type of a mode, and so what's happening is that you've consciously decided to withdraw in order to not perpetuate more karma onto your own spirit. So what's happening is you're kind of going through a cleanse. We have the Two of Wands here. These are from the Gothmancy Tarot. And then we also have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, so for some of you, there's a strong message here. Stop lying to yourself. If something has been identified as a problem, recognize it. Like, you know what the issues are in your life. I feel like these are not unknown to you. So these things that you're like, is that like, when you're listening to a tarot reading, your mind is kind of trying to contrast and ask, okay, is this it? Is that it? Is this it? You know exactly what it is. And so that's a confirmation for some of you. But don't hurt yourself over it. Do you see how these knives are being gouged into her and some of them are coming for her? It's just like, don't let these things cut too deep. It's not supposed to be super painful for you. It's more of like you're supposed to allow your mind to be reshaped through this recognition of what's going on in the subconscious. With the Two of Wands here, this is about marching to the beat of your own drum, about being able to recognize where you want to go, and then like this egg, it holds the ability for new life and that vitality of like the sun shining forth this new and brilliant light. you, I do feel like, are about to, following this reading, step into a place where you're going to be a lot more gracious with yourself, because you've been hard on yourself for so long and been blaming yourself. Sometimes we have to look at ourselves and see how we've been our own worst enemies, how we've been the ones who have been perpetuating cycles of abuse, trauma, and addiction even, or just these things where we don't want to continue to experience it, and we have to recognize we're our own, where we've been our own worst enemy. But I feel like right now you're stepping into a place where you're changing that pattern. The drums represent pattern and beat and that repetition, the cycle, you know, it's like that dun 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 dun. You're changing up that beat pattern. So it's like from going from dun 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 to dun 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 dun. You get to see this new cycle emerge, and you get to really reshape it. And I also feel like with this, the dead stand and waiting here, have respect for the people that came in front of you. I feel like if you're a lot of you may be holding resentment for your family members if they have perpetuated this onto you, and it's like recognizing how you and your family is one and the same. Like whatever struggles you have faced, your family has also faced. Like it's coded within your DNA. So like if you struggle with addiction, your family members may have also been struggling with addiction, but they never shared it with you. I feel like there's a lot of like secrets, again with the secrets here, that are coming to light for you. And once you uncover these secrets and you're more authentic and you get to share without holding back these revelations that you've had, you're healing not only yourself, you're healing everyone else. And the more open you are about it and unapologetic you are about it, like it's going to cause other people in your family to have to confront their own things, but like that's their own thing. Everybody benefits from hearing you and seeing you. You don't even have to share it. Just seeing you live your truth is going to help so much. So that's all I'm seeing for you, Pile 2. I hope that this resonated. I hope that this brought you some kind of clarity or support as you are working through this karma. I want to thank your guides, my guides, every other force in the universe that brought us together for this reading. I will see you in another video. I'm sending so many blessings, love, and abundance your way. I'll see you in another video. Bye, friend. Hello, Pile 3. If you selected this ammonite fossil or Pile 3 was just calling out to you, then this is going to be your karmic reading. So just to kind of cleanse the space before we get into this, I want to use a sound bell. One more time. Just to change the frequency of the environment and send out any energy that does not belong to the guides of Pile 3. So I have set the intention that only the guides of the highest truth, wisdom, and compassion can come through to assist us with this karmic reading today. I do have a sense that Pile 3, you are going through a more difficult time, or a more like shadow working time in your life. You may find this reading at a time where you feel really down, or really hard on yourself, like life is just not making a lot of sense to you. So I want to set the intention right now that this allows you to access those areas of your mind, access those areas of your shadow that are going to bring you some peace at this moment. So let's get into this reading. This card is from the Okana Oracle, and this is describing a side of your shadow which is involved in your karmic cycle that you're in at the moment. So I'm going to lay out these cards before we get into it. And your card is honesty. With the tongue, one can destroy the town and save the town. Control the tongue. So are you being honest with everyone in your life? Are you being honest with yourself, more importantly, Pile 3? Some of you may have been drawn to another pile as well, because I am feeling that there's some similarity here. So actually, I'll just say you may have been drawn to Pile 2 as well. But honesty. With the tongue, one can destroy the town and save the town. So it's really what meaning you're attributing to things. If you are, I'm hearing a pot calling a kettle black. Are you blaming other people for things that you're also doing in a different form? So while the pot and the kettle are two different things, they're used for two different things. They're the same material. They do basically the same thing. And so it's like you may be looking at other people around you and saying, oh, you're doing this, and then you're not able to look at how you're also doing the same thing. And I know that that sounds harsh, but pile 3, sometimes we don't want to own up to the ways that other people's perspectives are valid. Like, I know that you probably heard this before, and I don't want to be like blaming a victim at all. Like, I understand that we can be victims of other people's like frustrating behavior, but to continue to put yourself into a victim place, it doesn't help anyone, because you actually don't get to have any like closure that way, because the problem is never solved. And so I feel like what you got to do right now is be honest with yourself. Are you comfortable continuing to draw out this narrative? Are you comfortable identifying with this narrative time and time again? Like, is this serving you? And I feel like for a lot of you, you're going to realize, no, it's not. And also, for some of you, you got to come clean about something. So for some of you, it's like because you've been hiding these things or intentionally like withholding information from someone or from yourself, you're just going to continue to experience more and more dishonesty or deception in your life. And so that's kind of, I feel like what's been happening is like you're not telling the truth, and then you're expecting other people to be really honest with you. And so you're withholding information, and then other people are also withholding information. And it's just like reciprocal blame. I do feel like this may be one specific relationship in your life as well. And for all of you, it's going to be different, but a lot of you, it has to do with family. So, okay, these are the Cosmos Tarot and Oracle that I'm flipping over right now. I'm going to flip over the Gothmancy Tarot as well, just to see like fully what's going on. Okay, well, on one hand, I feel like you're being very honest. This doesn't have to do with material things. I don't feel like you're stealing or anything. Because this Empress energy, like I really do feel like you're being very, it has the Libra symbol that's standing out to me. You're being very honest in terms of like material goods. If you're splitting like money for payments or things like that, like financial, like it's very, I feel like that's an area of your life that you're very responsible about. I'm getting a lot of Capricorn energy as well. So wherever Capricorn falls in your chart may be something that is providing you with a lot of abundance and sustenance, or also the Pluto retrograde that's happening right now, even though this reading is timeless, and all the way until October of 2021, that energy may be really assisting you financially. But in terms of relationships, I do feel like you're not getting out emotionally what you desire, because you're also not meeting the other people where you would want to be met. It's almost like the golden rule, like do unto others what you would like done unto you, and it's just not happening. And I feel like you guys think of yourselves highly emotionally, like you see yourself as a very emotionally in tune person, which I do think that you are. But sometimes it can almost lead to relying on the intuition over communication. So what's happening right now is the communication needs to be strengthened. With the Earth page, because we have pages here, so this is, a little bit undeveloped energy. With the Earth page in the reverse, Canis Minor, acknowledgement, devotion, modesty. This is a call to be more modest about the ways that you may have fallen short of what you wanted to be. So if you set yourself up like calling yourself in your own mind, like I feel like this isn't a boastful thing that you've outright said. Some of you may have self-identified as empath or whatever, but if you if you identify a lot with being emotionally intelligent and then you don't live up to that expectation, like it feels like frustrating. And I do feel like there's some of this like shame that kind of comes forward with that. And so what I am feeling like a lot of you would benefit from doing right now is planning to have conversations with people. But I also do feel like for some of you, there's a message coming through about planning like methodical steps in the next couple of months to take time to invest in your own projects. So like with this earth page, it moves slow and it does things very meticulously and like takes steps to do these things. And I feel like that's what's being highlighted for you in terms of like projects, like very material things. So even though I said that you're provided for very like abundantly materially, I feel like in order to become better in terms of like sharpening your intuition and your own connection to yourself, it's going to be necessary for you to like actually produce something, or be a little bit more humble, I guess, like working more. Like if you don't have a job, like I would go look for a job, or if you already have a job, I would just invest more time in it, and notice the dynamics that are going on around you in those environments and the ways in which you expect other people's responses. I feel like a lot of you are very much in your head, or again, like I said before, relying on the intuition more than you're relying on communication. And it's almost like an ego, like a spiritual ego. Like you've gone through spiritual awakenings and stuff, and so you've developed a new kind of ego that is very immodest in an emotional sense. And so it's all about acknowledging what's going on, and that's how you're going to be like, okay, I'm putting out this more arrogant energy that I didn't even realize I was doing, and I don't want to continue to do that. And again, with the satellite here on the side, satellite in reverse is support, attraction, companionship. It's almost pushing the companionship or the relationships that you desire away from you. So people aren't coming at you. People will come at you with like this like angry or aggressive or like frustrated energy, and you're like, what the heck? How am I attracting this? Like I'm emotionally intelligent. It's like, okay, hold on. Like, what are you thinking about yourself? Or are you like aggrandizing yourself almost? And like how are people around you maybe mirroring that to you in some way? Because the satellite card, sometimes I do think of it as connected with like narcissism. So if you're like calling other people narcissists, you may also have some narcissistic traits that you haven't fully recognized, if that makes sense. Yeah, and please don't take any of this as like victim blaming. I want you to be able to see the patterns and the habits that are happening in your relationships from a place of like being communicative rather than feeling like you have to intuit everything or you have to understand everything all by yourself or be alone, because it can be really difficult when you're dealing with relationships and financial things that are intertwined. For some of you, this is also like working relationships that are frustrating, and it may be time for you to assess, am I actually doing work that I enjoy or that I feel like is benefiting the earth, like in the collective, like what my morals are. So for some of you, it is calling into question your morals, and how like you're buying into systems that don't align with your morals. So this is all I'm seeing for you, pile 3. I hope that this resonated. I hope that this opened up something that you already were aware of, and allowed you to expand your own thought process on it. I am sending so much abundance, so much love your way, and I appreciate you so much. I want to thank your guides, my guides, and every other force in the universe that brought us together today. I will see you in another video. Bye, friend. Hello, pile 4. If you selected pile 4 or this fire opal peace, then this is going to be your karma reading. So to start the reading, I would like to cleanse the space with the sound bell. Just soak into this meditative space. I'm being called to remind you to check in with your feet. Send your consciousness, your awareness down into the body to recognize what is going on in the lower portion of your body, and then work your awareness all the way up through the rest of the body to get in touch with how you're actually physically feeling right now. I am feeling like some of you are having trouble with being grounded, being connected, being aware of what's actually going on in your physical environment, and how you're having symptoms come up in your body and in your emotional body as well. So I do feel like you're in a place where you've transmuted a lot of your karma, and so you're starting to be able to see the fruits of that, and I want to support you in that today. So let's look at a shadow aspect that is in support of you or working with your karmic energy, and this is from the Okana Oracle. We got the Nurture card, the waters run deep. So this card is about filling other people's cup up and not your own. So right now I am feeling like you're being called to attend to your own needs in order to actually be able to give from a place of abundance rather than resentment. I feel like for some of you, you are giving right now from a place of resentment and it hasn't affected your karma, but it is about to be in a state of lack or giving, over giving. And letting people almost take advantage of you. And so Spirit's kind of giving a bit of a, not a warning, it's like a reminder. Yeah, that's the word. Okay, so I'm going to put these to this side and these on this side. I'm going to start with the Gothmancy and kind of give more of an insight into what's going on karmically for you. We have the Three of Pentacles in the reverse and the Six of Wands. Okay. I am feeling that a lot of you are in a state of hyper independence where you are almost ignoring trauma. And you're like, it's almost like toxic positivity in a way, which I didn't expect to come out in this reading because we are talking about our karma. But it's almost spiritual bypassing that's happening, where you're in a place that it feels like you're trying to heal, but you're like jumping the gun. You're trying to get to your end point instead of meeting yourself where you're at. I think that's why I was being reminded to, or called to remind you about your physical body. If you're storing like frustration or like undesirable emotions, I guess, in your body, and you're not tending to them, they're going to continue to be there and just manifest in very subconscious ways that are not aware, like you're not aware of, and then you're going to maybe repeat programs or like things that people say to you that are like, you know, like suck it up, like you'll get through this, or like you know, like giving out spiritual advice to people that is not grounded in like honoring all sides of experience. You're coming from a good place, but because you've been so drained, or you haven't been able to check in with your emotional self as much, you're walking around like this healed person when you're not fully healed, if that makes sense. Like you haven't honored yourself. And so your spirit team feels like you have maybe pushed them to the side. You haven't really tended to your spiritual self, and so you can't have a foundation to work from in the real world because part of you hasn't been able to observe it. It's like an ignoring of like the actual material world. Some of you could have spiritual beliefs too that don't honor like the actual material world. Some of you may have grown up in like Christian, yeah, possibly Christian. I don't know if I exactly want to label it, but just in religious or spiritual environments as a child that were very much like, give it all to a higher power. Nothing matters in the material world. What matters is the spiritual, and it's just trying to escape from the density of the material world. Yeah, like let yourself feel bad if like things feel yucky. Like honor that, because you learn spiritually through the material world. That's a reminder that I think is really important to you. Let's look at what the Cosmos Tarot and Oracle has to say. We have the Six of Earth in the reverse. Both of these are reversed. Okay. Dorado, investment, value, risk. And then we have Supernova in the reverse. This is 10. Outburst, explosion, surprise. Okay. I feel like this is kind of talking about past and then future. So I feel like you've been afraid to invest and actually really drop into the body, investing in your actual experience. There's a risk that comes with that comes with like, this is all underwater, so like feeling the emotions that are trapped in your body. Like, again, like I said earlier about trauma, a lot of you have unresolved trauma that is lying in the body, and it's almost like, if you acknowledge that it's there, you're going to have to do more shadow work. I feel like a lot of you have been just putting off shadow work in some way, because you've already been through it and you're like, I don't want to do that again. And it's like, okay, since you've already done shadow work before, like you've healed a lot of stuff. You know how to do it. So it's not going to be as bad this time. You just have to like let yourself actually feel the feelings. Like, let yourself feel it, dude. Like, I don't know how else to get that across to you guys. And then in like, once you let yourself feel it, I feel like also people around you will feel more comfortable feeling their emotions as well. It's just like letting yourself feel. And then also I'm being called to the hummingbird here. It's a symbol of uniqueness. Like, your unique experience is your unique experience, and you have to let yourself feel that uniqueness. Like, in order to fully appreciate yourself and find self-love, you have to also love all the parts of yourself that feel damaged, and like not label them as damaged, you know? And so Supernova, this is, I feel like, something that is going to be turned over. Like, it's going to be upright. It's a pending energy, which is the outburst, explosion, surprise. This is catharsis. This is literally the release, the feeling of emotional clarity, integration. You're gonna have a lot of questions that you've been asking, and maybe you don't even know that you've been asking these questions. They're gonna be answered because you let yourself feel. And that's like really beautiful. This card, the Six of Earth, is also really about like weighing options. And so like, once you have all these things weighed out, you're gonna recognize, I feel like a lot of places where you're accepting less because you weren't recognizing your own self-worth. This is like a self-esteem upgrade. I feel like you've forgotten that going through this trauma, going through this shadow work, going through this like exploration of the emotions actually allows you to be more balanced. Like, that balance is something that I feel like you've forgotten about. Like, when you get more in touch with the emotions, you have an outcome that makes you feel good in the end. It's not all just frustration. So you're gonna have this breakthrough once you kind of work more with that emotional self. So I hope that this resonated, Pile 4. I hope that this brought you some kind of confirmation of things that you've already been working through, and allowed for you to recognize what's going on a little bit more clearly. I want to thank your guides, my guides, every other force in the universe that brought us together today for this reading. I want to thank you and know that I am sending you so many blessings, so much abundance, and I will see you in another video. Bye, friend.